Thank you everyone for joining. Um, I'm really excited to do this kind of series where we can start from scratch and build little by little. That's how we go. That's how we improve. So if you do it, you have some issues. Don't forget, start again. You can try to fix it, and that's how you can learn and go. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a like. Don't hesitate to provide your comments in the comment section. That really will motivate us to provide more content. Thank you very much, and we're going to start another session, another great session. In the last video, we deploy the vSAN. We deploy configure vSAN. Um, Something that I didn't we didn't do it is the HA, the high availability that we didn't configure. If we go to the cluster, okay, configure, and um, we talk about the DRS last time. The vSphere availability is turn off. Why is it was turn off? It is when you're going to deploy the vSAN, this HA should be turned off. So you can deploy vSAN while it is turned on, but if you doing the vSAN deployment later in the later phase, so you should turn off the HA. What is HA? It is a nice cool feature on VMware. It is one of the coolest feature on VMware. A This here HA is allow you to improve availability by automatically detecting failed VM and restarting them on different physical servers without human intervention. So you have the ability to restart those VM in different physical hardware whenever it's possible because VM are kept on a shared storage. In our example, the shared storage it is the vSAN data store. But if you are it can be a physical SAN in your environment, but in our case it is a we are using a soft SAN, if we can call it like this. That is virtual SAN, and so this shared storage is accessible to all physical server. It is mandatory. So you should have a shared storage that is accessible on all physical servers. And what's happened? Let's go back to our design. Um, if if we have a VM here and for whatever reason this host is not accessible, so the VM will restart on the next available physical servers. So this VM will restart here or another one. So that's the beauty of it. You don't need the human intervention. You don't need to do nothing. So if there is a disk that is crash, um, memory collapse, so, whatever the issue you have, so it will try to find on the best uh, um available resources that is available in your infrastructure to restart and to continue to provide services. So let's enable it. We go to vSphere here. It's very simple. Maybe I won't provide more information here. Just turn on. We keep everything by default. But we can say that, for example, if there is a host failure, all the VM will restart on the other host. In the cluster, we can tolerate one failure host. That means if one host is down, it will we use the next available host to so we can use I think we are happy with the default setting, and we can say okay. So you will start you so you have HA capability in your environment. So it's working. It's configuring the HA. And after the HA, I think today we're going to deploy. We have configured the vSAN, we have configured the VDS distributed switch. Everything is in place, and so I think we can deploy now the our first clients. We can deploy. We can start deploying now today. So we will going to try. We're going to use a Windows and an Ubuntu a VM as an example for our lab. So let's wait and finish. So yes, finish. If you want to reconfigure, if you have some issue, can we configure the vSphere HA? Sometimes that's happen. If you have a, for example, after a failure, sometimes you see that you have an alarm here that say that your vSphere HA is not configured. You have some VMs that that the that the HA is not working properly. So what you can do, you can go to the host and you can we configure the HA. So there is an election master. You can you can try to find some inspiration in in Google, but it's like this. There is an election to in the cluster to see which host is going to be a master, something like that. So what you can do if you have issue, the best 100% when I do it, everything is okay. After that, you will configure your vSphere HA. After that, uh, every issue is sorted out. Okay, now let's go for to deploy the our first clients. So we will use a Windows and Ubuntu for the lab. We're going to use a what I call Windows 10 Lite, the light version. The light version, it is it is a smooth deployment where they will move a lot of services, things that you don't necessarily need for a light environment. That's why if you have a lab, sometimes when you have a lab, you are lacking of resources. So you it is very beneficial, or you can say crucial, that you deploy a Windows 10 Lite version. So like the live version with 1 gig RAM is okay to run a Windows 10, and we will use the Ubuntu. So we will use the Windows Lite. So you can use the whatever version that you like. You can use for the Ubuntu. We're going to deploy the Ubuntu version. This Ubuntu version, I think this is the last version at the time we're speaking. So we're going to deploy it. Um, for to gain time, what I already did, I've already download this in a in our environment, the Windows 10 Lite version in the Ubuntu, and I've already uploaded as well in the vSAN data store. So I create I've already upload the ISO files, ISO image for Ubuntu in Windows 10, and now I think we can start creating the VM, the Windows 10 VM, the Ubuntu VM. Okay, let's go quickly. So I say new virtual machine. I'm going to create a brand new virtual machine. I'm going to give the name Windows 10.01 for our first Windows 10. Yeah, we're going to use the first available host. Okay, we're going to use the vSAN data store. That is a shared data store. This data store, it is the local one. So this data store we cite only on USXI one. So we're going to use the vSAN data store. That is a shared data store that we can use for vMotion, for the stuff. Okay, and he has more a capability, have redundancy, have it is full tolerant. So let's use it next. Okay, the version we're going to use the latest. The guest OS, it will be Windows 10, 64-bit. Next. Okay, let's use 2 gig for lab. In VMNIC, always use the VMNIC 3 that provide 10 gig instead of the E1000 that provide the maximum throughput. It is 1 gigabit, but for the VMNIC 3 it is 10 gig, but you should have VMware tools installed. Let's use the latest one. And for the CPU, let's use 8 CPU. Why not? 8 CPU. I don't have the option to choose. Where is the option to choose the socket? I don't see it. So it is the in if you are using the previous version of this here, so you can choose how many socket that you want, etc. Here, when you're going to power on the VM, it will assign the socket depending of the resources of the hardware you have available. But if you want to specify it, you can go to the VM options in the CPU topology, and you can, for example, you don't say no, I don't want to assign that power on. I say I want to have a 4 core per socket. That means that I have 2 CPU that is going to use in our environment. Okay, so you have you can use the to assign those things at power on, or you can specify it here. Okay, in the data store, let's choose the ISO image for the Windows 10. So I create a folder ISO. I put all my ISO image files, and I choose Windows 10, the light version. Okay, I connect that part. Next, finish. Okay, so it is created. So I can try to power on and launch the console. Let's reboot. Okay. So I think everyone know how to install Windows 10. Maybe I will have to pause this video. So I think this video will be very short because I don't want. There is nothing to show to explain here. Um, Maybe I will have to pause the video and to resume the installation when it is finished. Let's do that next. There's nothing to do. Nothing fancy. So that's yeah. So in the meantime, let's install the Ubuntu in your virtual machine. The Ubuntu 01 will provide you as the name. Next, vSphere Data Store. Next, we're going to use the latest the latest version as the hardware version of the VM, and we're going to use the Ubuntu 64 bits. Next, let's use 8 CPU, 2 gig RAM. Um, yeah, all the defaults. Let's specify the ISO image. Okay, for the VMNIC, make sure that you have the latest one. Yeah, and that's it. And let's start. Okay, I'm going to install the Windows 10. Let's see, so it's installing. Okay, so it's starting the Windows 10. So it's pretty quick. So there is no it's not big deal. So don't forget, we are doing, we are working in the lab DC hostname, in the lab DC PC. This is the virtual machine that we created, that has the Windows Active Directory. So this virtual machine has two NIC. If you can see it, it has two NIC. One that is connected to our lab environment. It is the management subnet, and the other one is connected to the my physical network, my office network, where I can jump. So I do a remote session in this via this IP, and so I can have access on the lab. So just it is the lab DC. So if you don't understand the environment, please comment. I will. I can explain. Okay, so the Windows 10 is okay. What my Ubuntu? Yes. Next, install English. So yeah, normal one. Okay, the time zone. Let's choose American New York. On Eastern time. Okay, the computer. Let's call it Ubuntu. Oh no, the username. Let's call it user to the computer Ubuntu 01. Okay, the password it will be very. It is a lab, so I don't need a simple password. 1234. So next. Okay, it's installing. Let's go back to the Windows. Yeah, we're going to. Okay, 1234. I don't need. Um, put up. Um, the first one, the second. So I will give you the same. Okay, it's installing the Ubuntu. Okay, So I think it is the easiest parts of the lab when you deploy virtual machine. So everyone know how to deploy, install, create a virtual machine. Okay, maybe I'm going to pause the video and resume when both installation is finished to save time. Okay, so I'm going to pause and we'll resume back. So in less than 1 minute, the Windows 10 has already finished. So as I told you, it is very light. It's very quick the installation. So let's install the VMware tools. So the Ubuntu has not finished yet, but I think we can continue. Okay. So we're going to install the VMware tools that provide all the guest operating system drivers for the display, for the audio, for the mouse and keyboard enhancement and other stuff. Okay, when it's finished to install the VMware tools, it's going to reboot. Okay, when it's finished, it's going to reboot. Okay, let's reboot. Today, I don't have too much energy. I don't have a coffee, unfortunately. Yeah, but a quick drink, quick water. Okay, so we finish. Let's. So the installation is pretty straightforward. So the VMware tools is installed. So let's provide an IP, a name also, and an IP. Let's call Windows 10.01. Let's provide an IP. Okay. For now, um, let's return to the design. Normally here we have a subnet for the management VLAN, for the vMotion, for the vSend photo tolerance. In a production environment, you should have a a subnet for your VM, for your servers. Okay, so you should have a subnet for it. But as we are going to use our VM in a NSX a subnet in a Valley segment. So for now, we're going to use the management VLAN to host our VM. But in a production environment, if you have a nice deployment like this, create a new subnet for your VM. So because the management traffic should not your VLAN should not be able to communicate with the management traffic for security region. So, but for now, we're going to use the management subnet. So let's say will be 10. Let's give to 01 for the first um, the gateway. So we know that our DNS is 10. Okay. Now let's see if we can ping the internet. We should be able to ping the internet because there's no problem. No, nope, I cannot ping the internet. Let's ping the gateway. Nope, what's happening? Yeah, if it is okay. Okay, let's go to the vSphere to see the. Okay, okay, okay. I see it. Oh, the VM is the network is on the VM network, so it's not on the management network. Okay, to explain you, let's see the topology of our virtual switches. We go to the host, configure virtual switches. You see here the VM network. It is the VM network. There are no physical adapters, so there is no upstream a connection, so that connect to our physical infrastructure, and that's why that we cannot it doesn't provide any external connectivity. So we're going to use the management network that has two uplink that is connected to our physical infrastructure. So we can go to the Windows 10 widget. At this time we can put clients and let's put in the management, but don't forget in the real production environment, so you should have a dedicated VLAN for your virtual servers, maybe another one for your virtual desktops, and so on. So I put the management. um, okay, so let's see if we can ping the internet now. Let's use the gateway first. Yes, we can ping the gateway. Let's see if we can have the internet for external. Yes, and let's see if our DNS work. Yes, it's okay. So in our lab, so we can communicate to the external world. Um, let's return to the Ubuntu. Yeah, it's finished. So let we start. We have to do the same thing for the Ubuntu. We have to put this VM on the management network. So it was on the VM network. So we have to put it also. So we're going to put it on the VM network, on the management network. Okay. So there is no VMware tools installed. So we have to deploy the VMware tools on Ubuntu after. Press enter. Okay. Okay. And after we deploy the Windows 10, we're going to use another one, a Windows 10.02 and Ubuntu 02. So for the simplicity of the video, so we for the lab, so I think it's better to we have 4 VM, 2 Windows and 2 Ubuntu. So we're going to maybe I'm going to pause the video and do it in the background. So if in the future if we need more VM to do some labs, so we have already created them. So we are waiting uh, that we finish with the installation of Ubuntu. Okay, okay, we don't need. Okay, I think we are done. So let's install whenever when you are working in a virtual VM, whenever you are finished to install it, you have to deploy the VMware tools. So let's deploy it. So we go into Ubuntu to mount the ISO files to the CD-ROM. Okay, so we are going to use the command line version that is very straightforward. There is a nice documentation. There is VMware documentation for that. For example, if you want to install VMware tools on Ubuntu, so, so there is nice KB for that. But so let's do this quickly to install the VMware tools. We're going to use the terminal console. So the first things that we have to create a directory to mount the CD-ROM. So let's do this. We're going to create a directory to mount the CD-ROM. Okay. Um, we're going to mount the CD-ROM. So let's mount the CD-ROM now. So let's use the command mount slash dev slash CD-ROM. So we are going to mount the slide the CD-ROM. This is the CD in the directory that we create. Okay. Let's verify that it's everything is there. CD-ROM. Yeah, it's create. So we have the VMware tools here that we're going to unmount. So let's say to extract. We're going to extract the VMware tools because it is zip. So let's give the command and the correct permission. Okay, so it is in it is on the directory that we mount, and it is VMware tools. Okay, and we're going to mount it on the temporary in the temp folder. Okay, we extract it. So now uh, we're going to let's do ls. So okay, let's go to the mount directory. Let's say CD-ROM and okay. So what we can do is I think there is a directory that is created. I think it's when we extract, it's going to create a directory in the temp folder. Don't forget we extract in the folder. So let's see if the directory that if the is this file that we extract on the temporary files that is it is present. Let's go in the temp folder. Yeah, it is the VMware tools distribution that we create. Let's go in there. See this VMware tools. Okay. So let's see the file, and we see that we have the file installation that is VMware install. So we can install. So the command is to install. Okay. Do you want to proceed with the installation? Yes. Yeah. And we're going to take everything by default. Yeah. I think for for the Linux, it's there is more command that is involved for the Linux to install VMware tools, but there it is not complicated. There is a nice documentation that you can follow to install it. Okay, so it's installing. After we finish to install the VMware tools on Ubuntu, we're going to restart the server. Okay, I think we finished. So it's ejecting. This is finished. So we can reboot. Let's do a sudo reboot. So I think we finished for the VMware tools. Now we're going to provide the IP connectivity to the VM so we can have access to the internet, to the network. Okay, so let's provide the we're going to use the graphical interface, the GUI, to give network parameters. So we're going to write connection IPv4 manual. So we're going to use the management interface. The for the Windows it was 201. I'm going to use 211 for this. The O for the Windows, one for Ubuntu. Gateway. Okay, DNS. So it's 10. Okay. Let's go to the terminal. Let's see if we can ping the gateway. Yes. Let's see if we have access to the internet. Yes. And let's see if the DNS is working. Yeah. So it gives you name resolution. So I think we finished. So what we can test is we can test the vMotion. Why not? For example, this is I think it's not in the scope of the video, but we can do it. Um, let's see. What is vMotion? vMotion is when you have a VM. Okay, so the VM is here, but I can vMotion. Like I can migrate, do a live migration. It can be a live migration. It is when the VM is running. I do a live migration, so I migrate it here to another host. So the VMA now is after the live migration is running on ESXi2. But I can do a cold migration. It is when you shut down the VM and you migrate. This calling a cold migration. Okay, so to be able to migrate a VM to do vMotion, you should have a subnet that is dedicated for vMotion traffic, and that the vMotion services, that you use the vMotion services for that. Let's troubleshoot to see if we have it. We can go to SXI one, for example. Yes, we have we have the subnet. We have the VM kernel port for this. If we go to VM kernel adapter, we can see that yes, we have the vMotion for that. And you see the services that we use for this VM kernel is vMotion. If we are going to use vSen, you should create a new VM kernel and to for vSen traffic. If you're going to use for tolerance vSphere replication, you should create additional subnet. So you don't want to. You can use a one subnet for your management, your VM, for your vSyn, but there will be it's not the proper way to do that. You should segment all your traffic. A vMotion, when you are doing vMotion, and don't forget there is what we call network IO control. Network IO control, what we do it provide you it limit the bandwidth of your traffic, so you don't have a bandwidth consumption in your environment. That, for example, for vMotion can say we're going to use 20% of your bandwidth of your available bandwidth for vMotion. vSen going to use, I think vSen is very important. So going to use for, I don't remember the default one, but you can going to use the 40% for vSen, 15, and you can provide your own metric for to allocate appropriately the bandwidth. So the term is network IO control. So you can use it to segregate normally your bandwidth. Okay, so we have vMotion, so no problem. So we can do vMotion. We can try to vMotion the Windows 10, in which host the Windows 10 is hosting, is hosting in Windows 2, ESSi 2. So this VM is hosting in SSI 2. If you go to SSI 2 to the VM, I see that the Windows 10 is hosting there. So let's ping before doing the vMotion. Let's do it. The IP is 10.50.10.201. Okay, so it's working normally. So let's do the vMotion. I'm going to migrate. Right click, migrate. When the VM is working, it is live migration. When this shut down, this is called migration. You can do SV motion. SV motion, it is when you do a vMotion, it is when you migrate a host to another host. You can do SV motion as for storage. So that means if you want to move a VM from a storage to another storage, you are doing a SV motion. Okay, so let's do a compute. We're going to change host. It was running on SSI 2. Let's run it on SSI 3. Okay, we were going to leave it in the management network. Next, finish. So if you are seeing here is SSI 2. I'm picking, so it is the VM is running normally. So now it's migrating to it's complete. It's migrating to the SXI 3 without interruption. So that's the beauty of the vMotion. So let's do it for Ubuntu as well, if we can do it. So the Ubuntu is running on SXI 1. It is the IP. So let's ping let's ping the Ubuntu VM. Okay, so It's okay. So we're going to migrate it from SSI 1 to SSI 2. Migrate. Next. We choose SSI 2. Next. Finish. So the migration is starting. So without interruption, so the VM was working on SSI 1. Now it is running on SSI 2 and without interruption. So that's the beauty of the vMotion. What else we can do? We can use a clone. For example, we're going to use a Windows 10.02, a Ubuntu 02. What we're going to clone. We can clone the Windows 10 for our second Windows. We can clone it. You see, there is a maybe I have to make a video for what I can call a um a day-to-day operation. Um, Day-to-day operation. That's mean when you are an admin, a VMware admin, what you are going to do in a daily basis. You do vMotion, you do snapshot, you're doing what capabilities you have on the via the vCenter. You can clone, you can do snapshot, you can do template, whatever. But maybe I will have a separate video for that. But for now, for the whole concept for the lab, it is for the SDDC deployment. So I'm showing you the deployment of SXI, vCenter, VM. After it will be NSX, Verni, etc. But we will have some video to focus on each particular section. So what we're going to do? It was cloned. Yeah, we're cloning. We're going to clone this next. Vsend. Next. Next. We're going to change anything. Next. Finish. So we are going to clone the Windows 10 to Windows 10.02. It's we have a error. It means that it cannot quizzes the virtual machine. Quizzes mean while the VM is working, it cannot take what is on the memory of the VM to to move. When you are quizzing a VM, you should move all the memory contents while you are doing the vMotion as well. But for some reason, you cannot do it. Normally, when you are doing, you have to do when you have this kind of error, you have to do a reboot. Maybe it is the VMware tools that have some issues. Um, I don't know why it's not working, but normally, if it is, you can do a reboot for the VMware tools. It's running normally, but a reboot can resolve this. But for the simplicity of the lab, we're not going to do a deep troubleshooting. So we are going to shut down. So when you shut down, there is nothing that resides live in the memory. So we won't have a quizzing memory errors. So let's clone now. So let's clone Windows 10.02. Next, we're going to start again. We send data store. Next. So we should have not any problem because let's see if it will work. I don't know. Yeah, you won't have any problem. So the quizzing is when you do live migration or you are doing a snapshot. When you sometimes when you are doing snapshot, you have some those issue with quizzing. That's mean when the live contents of your memory you want to, for example, for a snapshot, you want to snapshot those the memory, the live memory, the RAM memory on the disk when you want to put it on the disk. Okay, so it's okay. So we're going to it for the Ubuntu. Um, so when you finish, you can do the clone also for Ubuntu. But okay, it's finished. When you finish, when you finish to clone, you're going to change the name of the VM and the IP address of the VM. But I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to have a Windows 10 and Ubuntu 02. Pause the video. Put the IP address for the Windows 10. It will be two. Windows 10 was a 201. Where's my IP? Network adapter. It was 201, and for the Windows for the Windows 10.02, it will be 202. Okay, for the Ubuntu it is 211. Okay, for Ubuntu, for the second one it will be 212. Okay, 212. Okay, so let's power this also. Okay, let's finish with okay. To don't have a duplicate IP, so it was a clone. We have to change the IP. I think this is beyond the video, but sometimes if you are doing this on an environment, you have to be careful when you are doing cloning, because when you are doing cloning, there is some information that is the same, like the GUID of the Windows, for example, it can be the same. That's why sometimes when you are doing cloning, you have to separate you have to separate the Windows as well, so you can change the GUID as well. But I think it's not really relevant for a lab. But this is something that you have to keep in mind when you are doing this. Okay, Windows 10.02. Next. Okay, so I think finish. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to deploy the Ubuntu. Um, and I think that's it for the deployment of our virtual clients. So we deploy two Windows 10 to Ubuntu VM for labs, and I think that's it. And already we can say that we have a pretty strong environment for now. You can do sorry, there is many companies that those infrastructure they are like this. They don't have an SX, they don't have a DIGS, but they have a basic vSAN infrastructure environment, a 5 to 6 hosts, and they are running all those things. They have the maybe Vim to back up the VM, etc. Everything is okay. So eh, if you can do this, you have already a strong foundation to for your to manage a virtual environment. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video, um, and I'm going to go for Ubuntu 02. Okay, so I finished deploying the Windows 10 here. So I test the connectivity. Um, if you can check, we provide the IP, and we have a basic connectivity for Ubuntu 2.02. I think there is an issue here. Let's see. Okay. I think there is the host memory. If you see, this host has 32 gig and is using, so it's like 90%. So let me see how many VM you have. Two VM. This has one. This has one. Yeah. So it is a memory usage that is very high. So it's going to be back to normal as VM is returned to the operating state. So for the Ubuntu, um, I don't have. Oh, I don't have this. So let's install the those tools. Okay, for the Ubuntu one, let's see. Yeah, yeah, yep, 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 yep. Do I have the tools installed? No. Uh, yeah, it's so interesting to do after the session. You do update and you install the basic. No, I think I will get a new one. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I have the IP here. I have basic connectivity. So my gateway. I have the gateway. Everything's working normally. Yeah, what's happened here? Sudo apt install. After I think that's it. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Basic connectivity. Yeah. I think that's it. What we did so far, we deploy to Windows 10 to Ubuntu. We use the Windows 10 live version in yeah. So for resource management, we can call it like that. The Ubuntu, you use the latest version. We provide ACP. We put them in the management network subnet. If we go to network, we go to management, we will see all the VM. So we provide them here. We test some basic vMotion. Um, I think that's okay. That's it. I think that's it for today. And here, as I said, you have a strong foundation now. You have a strong environment. You have vSAN, you have HE, you have DRS, you have vSAN. You have a strong foundation to manage your virtual machine. Now, I think in the next video, we're going to start on deploying NSX on the virtual networking. But maybe if I have to do something, if I remember something that I have not mentioned here, I can do another video. But I think in the next video we will start deploying NSX. We will go in NSX. So I think so far that you follow me. I think if you don't have if you have a nice laptop, you can do those lab is better. Don't follow only, but it's better that when you are doing, if you are doing in a production environment, but you never do it in lab, I recommend you always do that, because when you do it again and again, you will have some issues, and that's why you will learn and grow. And do it. Grab your computer, do those lab. If you have issue, you can write me in the comments, and I will be available, always available to get you to provide you help. And don't forget to subscribe, give us comments, give us like, and thank you very much. I really appreciate. And next time we will continue again. Bye for now.